He thought the announcement would crush me. Thanksgiving, the long oak table groaning under turkey, cranberry, and lies. My father, standing tall, glass in hand, smirking as though he was delivering a blessing, not a death sentence. "We're selling Reynolds Logistics. You get nothing." My brother slammed his fist. My sister smirked, always the favorite, already rehearsing the victory speech she'd waited her whole life to deliver. And me, quiet, hands folded, the dutiful one. "Who's the buyer, Dad?" I asked. Calm. Too calm. "A big company called Liberty Global," he said proudly, as though name-dropping royalty. That's when the laugh broke free, sharp, final. "Dad, that's me!" The room froze. Knives in mid-air, forks hovering over plates. Even the fire in the hearth seemed to choke on its own breath. But let me rewind. I grew up in the shadow of Reynolds Logistics. My father built it from the ground up, or so he loved to remind us. In truth, he built it on the backs of drivers who broke their bodies for scraps while he lived like a king. We were raised not as children but as pawns, his empire the board on which he moved us. I was the quiet one, the one who studied balance sheets when the others chased approval. My brother burned out in anger. My sister learned to mimic him, to laugh at his cruel jokes, to smile as he dangled the inheritance like bait. I pretended not to care. That was my first lesson in survival. The betrayal revealed itself slowly, like rust eating through steel. First, I noticed documents he forgot to share with me. Emails about restructuring, shares being moved. I wasn't copied in. Then came the whispers at board meetings, Liberty Global circling like a vulture. But when I tried to ask questions, he waved me off. "You don't need to concern yourself with this." That's when it clicked. He wasn't selling the company, he was selling us out. And he wanted me cut off. The anger was sharp, but it burned clean. I didn't cry, I didn't scream, I planned. Revenge, I've learned, is best written into contracts. I created Liberty Global, not as a real company, but as a shell. Clean paperwork, silent investors. A name vague enough to pass scrutiny. Every dollar I'd saved, every connection I'd cultivated, I funneled into it quietly. I even hired the same lawyers Dad trusted, making sure they never saw the strings connecting back to me. When the time came, Liberty Global slid into the deal with an offer so polished, so irresistible, my father couldn't help but sign. He thought he was outsmarting his own children, leaving us in the dirt while he retired a king. He never thought to ask who was behind the curtain. And I didn't stop there. I tied clauses into the acquisition, non-compete agreements that left him powerless, severance packages that rewarded the employees he'd exploited, contracts that cut my sister's golden parachute to ribbons. My brother, for once, would benefit, not from rage, but from justice. Which brings me back to Thanksgiving. The turkey had gone cold by the time I spoke. "Dad, that's me." His glass trembled. For the first time in my life, I saw it, the crack in his armor. My sister's smirk faltered, lips parting as though she'd misheard. My brother stared at me, confused, then, slowly, smiled. "What are you talking about?" my father barked, but his voice lacked weight. "Liberty Global," I said, leaning forward. "I built it. I own it. You didn't sell Reynolds Logistics to strangers. You sold it to me." Silence. Heavy. Unforgiving. He looked at the contracts in his briefcase like they might rewrite themselves. Realization spread across his face like poison. All his maneuvering, all his secrets, undone by the child he dismissed. "You tricked me," he whispered. "No," I corrected. "You underestimated me." The confrontation didn't last long. He tried to roar, but the board signatures were inked, the transfers already cleared. His empire was mine, piece by piece, line by line. And the beauty of it was simple. I didn't need to raise my voice. I didn't strike him. I let the paper speak. Every clause was a blade. Every initialed page a nail in the coffin of his control. My sister excused herself first, muttering curses. My brother raised his glass to me silently, an unspoken truce. And my father sank into his chair, small in a way I'd never seen him. The king had fallen, not to war, not to rebellion, but to a signature he never read closely enough. I walked out that night with the weight of a lifetime finally lifted. Did I feel guilty? No. Relieved? Absolutely. He raised us to play his game. He never imagined I'd learn it better than him. Now, when I walk through the offices of Reynolds Logistics, employees look at me differently. Not as his daughter, not as a pawn, but as the one who turned betrayal into empire. And sometimes, late at night, I think about his face